If you were at home on a Saturday night in the late 70s or early 80s, chances are you were watching. For 9 seasons, all kinds of people were hooking up and falling in love on the Pacific Princess. Occasionally, the love stories involved the crew. And whenever a black woman boarded the ship alone, you knew that it was this man's time to shine. Isaac the bartender, played by Ted Lange, had his share of romance during his time at sea. Let's take a look at all of the Love for Isaac episodes. In just the show's 5th episode, the storyline Isaac the Groupie was used. It featured Diahann Carroll as Roxy Blue, a fictitious world-famous singer. Roxy needs a break because
I am tired.
So she books the cruise despite the objections of her flunkies. Isaac somehow spots Roxy, even though there's nobody down there at the moment. After the ship sails, Roxy strolls into a bar that for some reason seems to be completely empty.
Of all the gin joints in all the towns in all the world, she walks into mine.
I guess since it was only the show's 5th episode, extras weren't quite in the budget just yet. It turns out that Isaac is the world's biggest Roxy Blue fan.
I own every record you ever made.
And he decides, F it, I'ma shoot my shot.
Well, I was wondering if I could, see you.
And throws in a little self-deprecation to boot.
I mean, I'm just a bartender. And you're a star.
But miraculously, this works.
What time do you get off work? Why don't we have one drink?
Which I'm sure had nothing to do with them being the only 2 black people on the ship. Roxy invites Isaac to her cabin for a drink, but asks him to keep a low profile, so naturally, Isaac puts on his most inconspicuous outfit. Apparently, Isaac got himself some because the next day, Roxy strolls back into the bar, and she's in a good mood.
Good morning.
It certainly is.
Julie comes in, asks about Roxy Blue, which makes her immediately go into stealth mode. Later that night, they meet up back in Roxy's cabin, and that's all it takes. Isaac is completely sprung.
When you meet the right woman, you know it.
The next time they hook up, Isaac cannot contain himself and reveals his feelings.
I love you more than I've loved anybody before in my life.
But Roxy's not feeling Isaac like that.
You're getting serious on me. Knock it off.
That messes up the entire vibe, and they don't even rock the boat that night. The next night, Roxy blows her cover and shows up to dinner in full diva mode. She proceeds to treat Isaac like hired help.
You just don't stand there, sweetheart. Roxy is thirsty.
Which he does not appreciate, but he does get the message. The next day, Roxy goes to see Isaac, and while he doesn't tell her to kick rocks, he does get in a slight jab.
You gonna invite me in?
Why not? I hope you don't mind the servants' quarters.
But Roxy goes on to belittle Isaac even more.
I just had to show you who Roxy Blue really is. I was married to 3 other guys who went through an awful lot of pain because they couldn't handle it. And they had a lot more going for them out there in this world than you do.
Damn, Roxy, that cut kinda deep. Anyways, Roxy leaves, and that's that. End of episode. Later on in season 1, Isaac meets the Fresh Prince's mom, Vernee Watson, in a story called Isaac's History Lesson, which was written by Gopher and Doc, something I never realized until just now. So in this one, an older man, played by Scatman Crothers, boards the ship and he's determined to have a good time. Everyone immediately takes a liking to him, except for Vi. No, that's not the character's name, but that was her name on The Fresh Prince, so that's what I'm going with here. Anyway, Isaac, seeing a single black woman aboard, immediately shoots his shot with Vi.
Sweetheart, I'm here to work on my doctorate.
Excuse me, Dr. Vi, and gets rejected. But you can't keep a good bartender down. After setting sail, Scatman regales the crew with tales of him doing the ham bone when he sold peanuts at the ballpark. Isaac does his version, while Gopher, Doc, and Julie convulse awkwardly. Once again, these antics meet the disapproval of Dr. Vi.
Then how long before he starts strumming on the old banjo?
and once again, Isaac gets shot down. But, as luck would have it, he literally bumps into her moments later, and it appears Isaac is beginning to thaw out Dr. Vi. At least until Gopher blocks him with the wham bone. So now Isaac is 0 for 3. Later that night, Dr. Vi stares at the stars like this, while Isaac ups his game by breaking out the prototype for the Eddie Murphy Raw outfit. He drops a couple of lines, gives her an apple, and it seems to be working until... The next day, we find out just why Dr. Vi doesn't like Scatman.
Isaac, he's the type of man who makes it harder for you and me. People think all blacks are like that.
And Isaac wants to hit that so bad that he begins to agree with her.
I have more important things to do with my life than dance.
Whatever you say, boss.
I'm not your boss. I've seen about all the shuffling I can handle.
Well, it turns out that Isaac and Dr. Vi get a lesson in black history from Captain Steubing of all people.
You two have had your noses buried so deeply in the history books that you missed seeing some living black history.
You mean he's Scattergun Gibson?
That's right.
Only the greatest pitcher the Negro League ever had.
After a quick stop by Doc's office for Vi's stick extraction surgery, they all hang out, and Isaac gets a goodbye kiss, implying that something indeed went down between these two. I mean, the show wasn't called the Mutual Admiration Boat. On to Season 2, where the next target in Isaac's sights would be the lovely Lola Falana. Isaac is on vacation and decides to spend it at work. While he's busy acting like a complete ass.
You forgot your bag.
Did you bring it along, kid? You call this a tequila sunrise?
Isaac tries to acquire his target, but doesn't get very far.
Is that a no?
If it isn't, it's a good hint that one is coming.
Undeterred, Isaac starts lying about his wealth.
Oh, don't you just love the Concorde?
Oh, yes. I'd say it's the finest aircraft I've ever owned.
And that's apparently all it takes. In fact, Lola even hints that she's okay with an open relationship.
There's something that I must confess to you.
If it's another woman, I don't want to know about it. You just tell her that I'm in the race now.
Of course, any relationship built on lies is sure to crumble eventually, and Isaac gets outed as a broke ass.
Well, sure. He'd have to be to do all that on his bartender's salary.
You're a big phony just like all the rest of them.
Lola Falana then expresses her displeasure by racking up several $100s worth of damages, and Isaac strikes out again. Or does he? During a hurricane, Isaac takes command in the regular crew's absence because that's what bartenders do. His reward for stepping up is a night with Lola, as well as
A promotion.
Yay, Isaac! In episode 17 of Season 2, Isaac gets a young Debbi Morgan a job in the gift shop as part of a
Juvenile rehabilitation program.
It seems Debbi has been arrested for shoplifting before and is getting a second chance, so she's ready to settle up right away.
Oh, right. Let's go to my cabin.
But Isaac isn't trying to be that guy, so the rest of the episode pretty much turns into an after-school special. Allow me to summarize. Hey, these earrings are nice. I will admire them openly. That wayward black teenager is openly admiring those earrings. Oh dear, those earrings I was contemplating purchasing seem to have disappeared. I don't see a receipt for the earrings in this gift shop that is clearly not a bar, so why the f*** am I even here anyway? Humph. That wayward black teen. Debbi Morgan, did you steal those earrings?
I knew I would get nailed for something on this jive ship. Now, there are your damn earrings. You figure once a thief, always a thief, right? I took them.
I shall not fire you, wayward black teen.
Oh, Captain, how can I thank you?
Next up on Isaac's love list is Debbie Allen. As soon as she boards the ship, Isaac notices her, but he's a little gun-shy.
I have been burned for the last time.
You should probably pay Doc a little visit. Anyway, in spite of his initial reluctance, Isaac falls prey to Debbie's charms.
Well, what I really needed was someone to talk to.
I'm all ears.
Turns out she's got a fiancé that she's not sure about committing to, and it would seem Isaac has now caught her eye.
You're beautiful.
That's all it takes for Isaac to make his move. First on the dance floor, where he clearly does not realize just how far out of his depth he actually is.
Got big dreams. You want fame. Well, fame costs. And right here is where you start paying. It's sweat.
Then Isaac puts on his lady-catching clothes and goes on the offense.
Leave Jimmy on the ship, okay?
After a day off of the ship, Isaac is hooked.
I'm crazy about you.
But the next day, he discovers his new lady has checked out. He catches her, but one look is all Isaac needs to know.
It is goodbye.
See, it turns out that Debbie Allen's fiancé, Jimmy, is in a wheelchair, and she wasn't sure about the challenges that would come with that. Damn, Isaac, it kinda sucks to be you right now. Isaac's on-board love life cooled off for a few seasons after this, until season 5 when Berlinda Tolbert showed up. You know, Jenny from the Jeffersons. Apparently she works in the port terminal gift shop, and Isaac convinced her to try a cruise. But as soon as he starts to make his move, he gets blocked by this dude, a former track star. This complicates things. Further complications come from Isaac's recent dental work, which for some dumbass reason results in his new filling receiving radio signals, which for some dumbass reason keeps him from getting anywhere with Berlinda. Instead of just explaining things, you know, like a grown-up, Isaac tries to keep his newfound affliction a secret. But of course...
Don't you ever stop clowning. And leave me alone.
Doc tries his best to cheer Isaac up by bringing him a foursome, but as luck would have it, that's exactly when Berlinda decides to give him another shot. I guess she was not interested in a fivesome. She's also not interested in Mr. Trackstar, who, while trying to make his felonious move, accidentally kicks Isaac's ass. Luckily, this knocks out the musical filling, and Isaac gets to... Isaac's next lady love would be in season 6 in the form of Tracy Reed. She's a single mother with a very clear agenda.
I'm planning on spending the rest of my life with him.
The problem is, Isaac doesn't seem to be privy to any of this. In fact, he's way more interested in her son than her. An I Heart Isaac t-shirt? That would definitely raise some questions in 2025. Isaac has this woman firmly in the friend zone until her son Dudley spills the beans.
And now Mommy says I'm going to have a daddy too. You, Isaac.
Isaac is conflicted and unsure of how to let Tracy down easy. Not a good start, Isaac. Try again.
Yes. I am going to make you such a perfect wife.
Dude, that's even worse. What are you doing?
Gail and I, we're gonna get married.
All right, Isaac. Do you. Anyway, Captain Steubing calls bullshit. Isaac and Tracy both realize he's about to fuck up 2 lives.
It's not there, is it?
You know, you're right.
And he lets fine-ass Tracy Reed walk off the ship and out of his life. If you ask me, Isaac just wasn't feeling being a stepfather, no matter what he might have said earlier. In season 7, Isaac flexes his power a little bit and gets his girlfriend, played by Eugenia Wright, a job on the ship. Even though she's late on her first day, things start out okay, and Isaac's thrilled to have his girl working with him. As the day wears on, it becomes clear that Miss Wright is not the model employee, as she's hanging out inside a passenger cabin during her shift. But she does have Isaac wrapped around her finger. By that night, Gopher can clearly see that Miss Wright sucks.
She's disappearing from shifts, her work is sloppy.
But she's playing Isaac right into blindness. Gopher says, look, she's gotta go. Isaac objects, and they get into it.
If you fire her, you fire me.
The next day, Isaac and Gopher make up, and they agree to give Tina one more chance. He begs Tina not to f*** up anymore, and she agrees.
I won't let you down.
That promise lasts about 10 seconds, as Tina is hanging out with passengers instead of serving the drinks that are right there on her tray. Gopher, not wanting any more friction between him and Isaac, decides to transfer to another ship to keep his friendship. Isaac finally realizes that his girlfriend is a terrible employee and does what he has to do.
Tina, I'm gonna have to fire you.
She does not take it well, and they break up. I mean, not explicitly.
Will I see you again?
I hope so.
But we never see her again. Berlinda Tolbert makes a return appearance in season 8, playing a different character this time. All she has to do to make Isaac fall is, well, exist. Turns out, Berlinda is an advocate of a self-strategy plan called BOS, or
Being of self. Oh, it's the ultimate in personal awareness.
Initially, Isaac isn't buying into it, and everyone else seems to think that she's out there. But Isaac wants to hit that.
You know, I think we'd have more privacy in my cabin.
And after Berlinda lets him,
Lead the way.
he thinks there might be something to this philosophy after all. So, Berlinda puts it on him, and Isaac is all in.
Since I've embraced boss, my entire outlook on life has changed. A whole new me.
Isaac is really tripping now, showing up to work out of uniform and trying to bring the rest of the crew into the cult. I'm kind of wondering if there was some pharmaceutical explanation for this behavior. Then Isaac makes the classic blunder of being honest.
When you first told me about boss, I just pretended to go along with it because I thought you were sexy.
And it goes over about as well as you'd expect.
I never want to see you again.
With the sex now off the table, Isaac realizes the error of his ways.
Well, I guess being of self just isn't for me.
And that is the end of this particular escapade. And speaking of escapade, that brings us to the next lady on the love list, the one and only Janet Jackson. This episode is a bit more high stakes, as some criminal mastermind evil doctor has built an Isaac robot to commit a crime. Meanwhile, the real Isaac meets Janet and he falls instantly.
That's a beautiful one.
You know, like he does. While the evil doctor very creepily watches this unfold. Janet wastes no time putting the moves on Isaac, and we soon find out why.
She's working with the evil doctor.
They are going to secretly record Isaac saying some very specific lines that will then be transferred to the robot. And he's just getting off on watching Isaac and Janet. The two lovebirds are off once again, and Isaac does not stand a chance.
And I love you.
However, Janet is only doing this to keep Isaac occupied while the evil doctor uses robot Isaac to pull off his caper, which is stealing a prized horse worth millions, and then selling it back to the owner. So naturally, Isaac gets arrested for the theft, and Janet throws him right under the bus.
Well, Isaac, I don't know what you were doing, but I was out sightseeing. Alone.
And it looks like the Pacific Princess will need a new bartender. But Janet is not feeling good about this caper, and the whole plan falls apart when the crew discovers Robot Isaac because Dr. Dumbass didn't bother to disassemble the robot like they did to get it on the ship in the first place. So, Isaac's free, the doctor and Janet are arrested, and they share a touching moment.
I do love you.
Yeah, too bad she'll be unavailable for about the next 20 years or so. Isaac's last love voyage is with Phylicia Ayers Allen, as she was known as at the time. Turns out the ship now has a dance troupe called the Mermaids, and Phylicia is their choreographer. She also has a little history with Isaac.
I almost married him.
They lock eyes, and we lapse into a Lifetime-esque movie.
Over the last 10 years, I thought a lot about what I was going to say to you.
Isaac, do you hate me?
But I've learned to let that stuff go.
What went down between them that we've not heard one thing about in the previous 8 seasons? Apparently, Isaac was going to propose, but Phylicia wanted to dance on Broadway, so she left him a note and dipped. But 10 years later, the fires still burn. And wouldn't you know it, the timing still isn't right.
Oh, Isaac, I'm not going on the cruise. I leave tonight right after the show.
Knowing he has little time left, Isaac gets right to work.
You do have your own cabin.
Certainly do.
But even though he's quite aware this is pretty much a one-time thing, Isaac suddenly decides that's not enough.
Why can't we just enjoy what we have right now?
It means more to me than just sharing a moment.
And they don't even hook up.
I guess this is goodbye again. I'll see you, Isaac.
Actually, you won't, because this was the Love Boat's final season. Yeah, I'm not counting that one. So, in 9 years, Isaac Washington was with Diahann Carroll, Vernee Watson, Lola Falana, Debbie Allen, Berlinda Tolbert twice, Eugenia Wright, and Janet Jackson. I guess now we know the reason behind that big smile. Cheers to you, Mr. Washington.